Hello, my name's Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the weekly neutrino forecast for October 5th to October 11th of 2014. On October 5th, we have the sun, denoted here by this black circle with a dot in it, in Libra. It's in the 48th hexagram, and we can see the stacks of lines for the 48th hexagram on the outside of the wheel. They're numbered from bottom to top. This one goes yin, yang, yang, yin, yang, yin. And then the 48th hexagram is mapped to an opening in an energy channel called a gate. And here we have the 48th gate of depth, the well, the necessary and qualitative foundation that is a prerequisite to establish the common good, located in the splenic center in a collective logic energy path in the understanding circuit called the channel of the wavelength, a design of talent that connects to the 16th gate of skills, enthusiasm, the great art of enriching life by harmonic channeling of energy. And I found human design to be amazingly accurate in describing the person, that I use it as my primary tool when I provide readings. And we have the following gates activated on October 5th. We have the sun in the 48th gate. We've got the earth and retrograde Uranus in the 21st gate. The north node is in the 57, the south node in the 51, Mercury retrograde in the 28. Venus is in the 18th gate. Mars is in the 5th, and then Jupiter in the 7th, Saturn in the 43rd gate. We already mentioned Uranus, Neptune retrograde in the 55, and Pluto is in the 38. Now, obviously, not every gate activation forms a channel, but this information can be very helpful if you know your own human design chart, because some of these transits will form channels with potentials in your personal body graph. And you can get your human design chart by going to jovianarchive.com, click on the button that says Get Your Free Rave Chart, and then enter in your birth information. And the neutrino forecast is really just a weather report. So no matter what the weather is, your individual strategy and authority is the correct choice to have an authentic experience regardless of the program. As Ra Uru Hu said, whatever the weather is going to be, you have your neutrino umbrella. As long as you're experimenting with your strategy and authority, the weather is for your pleasure. We begin the week with one channel definition due to the transit field. With Mercury in the 28 and Pluto in the 38, we have the channel of struggle, which will be affecting us until October 6th. It brings experiences where people struggle against overwhelming odds. It's through this archetypal hero's journey of fighting for our purpose that empowers others to stubbornly fight for what holds meaning for them. It's about empowerment that comes from being who we're meant to be instead of following the conditioning of our families, schools, religions, and governments. It's said to be deaf so that it doesn't hear the other and be distracted from its authentic path. For folks without the defined root center, this transit can bring pressure. With the defined splenic center, there could be intuition and well-being. Ra warned that non-splenic people may let go of something that is good for them during a transit defining the splenic center. It's individual circuitry. So this definition brings melancholy or feelings of being blue that is best used in some form of creativity. We're going to be talking about the sun's Ravi Ching line values daily, because 70% of the neutrinos we receive come from the sun. And as Ra said in Living with the Program, the lines of the day, when talking about these shifts of daily line values, he said we can always take advantage of the themes of the day. If your strategy and authority doesn't lead you in that direction, you can just notice how the program is affecting others in your environment. So let's get started. October 5th begins with the sun. It's in the third line, the line of the martyr of the 48th hexagram, which is incommunicado, exalted, symbolized by the no moon phase, where the potential of light is unrecognized, unavailable, unknowable. The redeeming value is in the transcendence of such a stage which can give strength to those so afflicted, where the development of taste and depth is a long-term process. Detriment, the profound anxiety when a profound intelligence is forgotten in the wilderness. The tendency in a long-term process, development of taste and depth, to anxiety. And third line days, so we're in the line of the martyr when we start the week. So this is about bonds made and broken, a trial and error process, a system of discovery by figuring out what doesn't work. Things bump into you on a third line day, so you might be careful on the material plane. Be careful on the roads for cars, and be careful of things in your environment. And things may go wrong, but if they do, they're here to lead us to discovery. And then later on the 5th, the sun moves up into the 4th line, into the opportunist line of the 48th hexagram, the shift happening at 11:22 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The times I'm going to give you are Eastern Daylight Time, so you want to convert that to your local time zone. The sun's exalted in the 4th line of the 48th hexagram. It's described as restructuring. Exalted, the good sense to take advantage of restriction on short-term activity to assess the situation and restructure for long-term goals that will facilitate development when activity resumes. The awareness that depth and its possible expression will face restrictions with a resulting taste for long-term projects. And 4th line days represent the shift of moving from the lower trigram, the first 3 lines, into the upper trigram, the 4th, 5th, and 6th lines. This is represented from a shift in awareness, where our perspective is more outward than inward. And of course, the 4th line themes for the opportunist are friendship, companionship, networking. Great day for social interaction because people are more friendly and social with the 4th line energy. And then on the 6th, the sun moves into the 5th line, so moves into the line of the heretic from the line of the opportunist. Again, 48th hexagram, shift happening at 10:12 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The sun in the 48.5 is described as action, exalted, the natural urge to apply energy to action, a taste for action, detrimented, an over-reliance on the need for protection that in times of social renewal is obsessed with the details of planning at the expense of action. 5th line days are again heretical, a day of suspicion, also a day of universalization where something can spread like a virus, whether it's a YouTube video or a Facebook posting. There's also a great deal of suspicion and paranoia on the 5th line day due to the projection. The projection is always positive, followed by negative, like they could do it, they'd be great at it, let's have them do it. Then if the person doesn't do it, can't do it for whatever reason, it doesn't get done, then they get punished. And as I've said before, it's only paranoia if they're not out to get you. And of course, seduction is also a 5th line theme. And then also on the 6th, Mercury moves, and it's retrograde, so it's moving backwards from our perspective here on Earth, or it appears to be moving backwards. Planets never actually do move backwards, but it's on an inner track, and it's passing the Earth on the inner track. It moves from the 28 to the 50. And with that, we no longer have the definition of the channel of struggle or the defined root or splenic centers. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. This is communication, expansion of human consciousness through communication, but not just as words, but also as music, according to Ra. And what do we need to communicate in life? We communicate the message of our design Mercury through the personality, through the medium of our personality Mercury. And what might be communicated when Mercury's in the 50? Well, do we have the correct rules for caring? Are we afraid of the responsibilities for nurturing others. This is the gate of values, the cauldron, the values of historical continuity, whose traditional values serve and enrich the present and future. And Mercury retrogrades back into the 6th line, so of the 50th hexagram. Mercury in the 6th line of the 50 is leadership, exalted, the gift of in a position of power to maintain harmony even in severity, the strength to maintain one's values with vigor and continue to have harmonic relationships with others. Detrimented, an inherent moodiness in a position of power that may at times alienate or offend and affect overall efficiency, the strength to maintain one's values, but at the expense of harmonic relationships. And then on the 7th, the sun moves into the 6th line of the 48th hexagram. So we're up here on the roof of the hexagram in the role model line, the shift happening at 9:01 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The sun in the 48-6 is fulfillment, an undiminishable resource, exalted, the valued center that as it gives, it receives and thus can continue to give, a depth of potential talent that is of value to others. Detrimented, a tendency to superficially, that though generous and nurturing, will lack the inspirational quality that can transform its gifts a gift into a common currency, where depth is limited the taste with the superficial and affect to the quality of possible talent. 6 line days, we're on the roof of the hexagram. The 6 line day is usually looking beyond the current environment. Think about standing on the roof of your house. You might be looking at everything else in the neighborhood and not so much at the roof unless you're reshingling it or something. So anyway, the 6th line, Ra talks about not getting stuck with your head in the clouds because something's going to run into your kneecaps. It's a day where there's a lack of focus on what's going on around us. Because folks are not so much focused on their immediate environment. And like 3rd line days, there's certain dangers of not seeing a car coming, not seeing a bill coming. Also on the 7th, Venus moves from the 18th hexagram and joins the sun in the 48th hexagram right here. In human design, Venus is very powerful and deeply misunderstood, according to Ra. It brings morality, natural law in which we deal with the other and the consequences of the world around us. And what disturbs you on a moral level, your personality and design Venuses tell of the moral dilemma that you're going to work with in your life. And if you don't act with moral clarity, Venus can be unkind in its retribution. Venus in the 48th gate of depth, the well, the necessary and qualitative foundation that is a prerequisite to establishing the common good. In the 48-1, first line, of course, we are looking at, it's called insignificance, exalted, an instinctive recognition of what is practical and deserves attention, a taste for recognizing what is practical and deserves attention. Detrimented, an ego tendency to apply energy to trivial considerations, a taste for trivia. And then on the 8th, the sun moves out of the 48th hexagram. Of course, it's leaving Venus there, and it's moving into the 57, where it's joining the north node. And likewise, the Earth moves out of the 21, leaving Uranus and joining the south node in the 51. And the 51 is the gate of shock, the arousing, the ability to respond to disorder through shock and disorder and shock through recognition and adaptation. The shift happening at 7:49 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and with the sun in the 57th gate of intuitive insight, the gentle, the extraordinary power of clarity. The sun is in the 57th gate. It's in the first line of confusion, exalted, the gift of penetrating to the inner meaning that ensures timely action, the possibility of intuition penetrating to the inner meaning. Detrimented, where feelings are no substitute for clarity and can lead to indecision, the possibility that confusion will overpower the intuition. And so we're now in the lower trigram, the first, second, and third lines. Specifically, we're in the first line on the 8th. Which is, lower trigram people are more absorbed in their inner process. The theme of the first line is fear or anxiety that needs to be investigated. So it's a day to study, maybe not to act. It's a day to look into things, not to jump. A good day to deal with things that you don't understand, can't make sense of, or simply don't know. And then also on the 8th, Mars moves from the 5th gate to the 26th. Find something here. So Mars is in the gate of the egoist, the taming power of the great, the maximization of power of memory applied to nurturing of continuity. Mars is detrimented in the first line of the 26th, which is a bird in hand, detriment, accomplishment as license for foolhardy risk-taking, the refusal of the ego to be satisfied. And Ross spoke about Mars being an extraordinary and immature energy resource that lacks refinement and is subject to outbursts. Mars represents the warrior archetype, and by following our strategy and authority, we slowly refine the energy of our design and personality Marses from immaturity to wisdom. And then on the 9th, we have the sun moving into the second line. So it's moving from the investigative line into the line of the hermit. Again, we're in the 57th hexagram. The shift happening at 6:37 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The sun in the 57-2 is described as cleansing. The clarity to establish proper values and ideals must be accompanied by resolute determination to maintain them. Exalted, perfected cleansing through inner realization. The proper possibility for proper values and ideals through intuition. Detrimented, a superficial cleansing that tends to hide the dirt underneath the carpet. The possibility that the depth in the intuition will be treated superficially. And second line days, the hermit, basically people are waiting for something. They're waiting to be called. People are kind of stuck in their own trip. So it might not be a great day to have a party because people would rather just stay home. And then on the 10th, we have the sun move from the third line, the martyr line, move from the heretic line to from the hermit line to the martyr line of the 57. And this shift happening at 5:24 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is acuteness, exalted, perfected intelligence, where clarity eliminates doubt and ensures manifestation. The possibility of perfected intuition. No polarity. Detrimented, no planet in detrimented. Third line days, so we're talking about a trial and error process, bonds made and broken. Third line days, be careful on the road. Be careful of swinging doors or swinging elbows. This is a day where we might have bonds made and broken. Third line days, again, trial and error process where things can bump into you. It might be a good day for business or work on the material plane. But you have to be careful because things can go wrong, but the things that go wrong are really there to lead to discovery. And then on the 11th, we have the sun moving into the fourth line, into the opportunist line of the 57th hexagram. The shift happening. Oh, we've lost our Mars over here. Sorry. Hopefully it will stay. Anyway, so the shift happens at 4:10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where it's described as the director, exalted, the mastery of realizations that through clarity can maximize productivity, while the sensitivity to interrelationships will ensure harmony, the possible intuitive clarity to master relationships, detrimented tendency given this position to be dictatorial rather than directional, with the gift of clarity to master relationships, the possibility of being intuitively dictatorial. And with the fourth line days, Mars just wants to stay here. Let's find somebody else. So again, we are now up here in the fourth line, the opportunist line, so it's a day where the shift, again, from inward perspective to outward, themes of companionship, friendship, networking, things of that nature. And then also on the 11th, Venus leaves the 48 and moves into the 57th hexagram. Where it's joining the sun and the north node. In human design, we talked about Venus a little bit earlier being deeply misunderstood, according to Ra, and that it's about morality and natural law. So Venus in the 57th hexagram of intuitive insight, the gentle, the extraordinary power of clarity. And Venus is exalted in the 57-1 of confusion, exalted, the gift of penetrating to the inner meaning that ensures timely action, and the possibility of the intuition penetrating to inner meaning. And so the sun continues, is finishing up, moving through the 46, the 18, the 48, and the 57, which are all the gates associated with the Christ God's head, which was covered in the offering from September 21st. Next week, we'll explore the Minerva God's head. So no matter what energies are conditioning you during the week, just remember this experience is about being a passenger, riding in a vehicle driven by the magnetic monopole. So enjoy the scenery. Let the vehicle take you where you need to go through using your strategy and authority. Every single day we have is a blessing, no matter what dramas beckon to distract us. We're all here just giving the performance of our lifetime on this world stage. Just take some time to observe the play as well as act your part by remembering you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. And I would like I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the Neutrino Forecast will be for October 12th, 2014. It should be available on October 11th, when we're going to continue to look at the influence of the heavenly bodies as they transit the sky and the hexagrams of the I Ching. I encourage you to check us out on Facebook, Blogger, or YouTube. And I encourage you to share this information as videos or as texts as widely as you choose. And I'm going to be discussing the transits of November 2014 and providing some short human design readings to the participants of the Earth Needs Rebels show on truthfrequencyradio.com on Tuesday, November 4th. And you can participate in the program by going to truthfrequencyradio.com. Go to the tab for Earth Needs Rebels and get into the chat space, and you can message with Katie if you want to get a reading or you have questions. Or you can email her or personal messenger your phone number, and they will call you for free anywhere on the planet to bring you on the program live. The show begins at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I come on at 1:30, the show completes at 3 p.m. I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or wish to schedule a reading. And if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to either be able to call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available, and we are definitely at a point where we could use some financial support. So if you're so inclined, please make a donation. You can email me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com with instructions on how to do that, or get a reading. These are my readings are at least 2 hours long, often longer than that. They're dense, they're full of all this detail, just like these reports are, and they're all about you. As always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for all these ancient mysteries and their application in our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh. And as Ra would say, love yourself. And as always, I'm really grateful for your time and attention to these offerings, and look forward to connecting with you either in a reading, on the radio show, or certainly in a future video. All my best, everyone.